Hi everybody, Ryan Dohrn here, and in Cincinnati, Ohio, each year is the National Hoof Care Summit. And this year I had an opportunity to make a presentation to the vendors and advertisers that participate in that amazing event each year in Cincinnati on behalf of my friends at the American Farrier's Journal and, of course, Lessiter Media. For those of you that couldn't attend, I wanted to take an opportunity to share this presentation with you because I think it's really important as you're looking to maximize your marketing dollars. Now, in the onset, I think it's important to share with you that I know what I know and am involved in the horse business each day because of my lovely wife, Andre, and her business. And so, as a point of note, I understand I'm a part of the equestrian community. And so, as I share these things, I'm not only a sales and marketing coach, but I'm also a member of the equestrian community at large. So I feel like I've got a really unique connection to those of you that advertise with American Farrier's Journal or are thinking of doing so. All right, so let's talk about 5 ways to max out your marketing efforts. I've had an opportunity as a professional throughout my career to work for the Walt Disney Company as well as equestrian publications, large and small, RFD-TV, Western Horseman magazine, just to name a few. And I share that with you because I want you to know that as we walk through these 5 concepts, my heart is a part of the equestrian marketing community. All right, 5 concepts for you today. Concept number 1 is understanding that marketing is a marathon, not a sprint. And what do I mean by that? Very often when I'm working with business professionals, one of the things that I hear is that I'm going to advertise when I have money to advertise. And that's really actually backwards because marketing is an investment. It's not an ATM. It's not going to be a quick cash or quick sprint. And so it's important to understand that when you don't advertise, basically nothing happens and you're relying upon word of mouth, which is absolutely fine if you don't expect to grow much. Word of mouth advertising is one of those things that it basically kind of is like a bobber on the water. As the water goes up and down, so the bobber will go, or the buoy will go in the water. It really is a marathon, and very often it's a long marathon. You know, it wasn't that long ago that you could actually place an ad and someone would pick up the phone. They'd actually call you. Today, I have found that's actually not the case, and I'll explain that more as we walk through our concepts together. Let me give you a challenge, and let me ask you this. What percentage of your net profit do you set aside for marketing each year? I like to kind of call it internal tithing, if you will. Would you be surprised to learn that 5%, 5 to 7% is common? It's sort of like your advertising savings account. I would actually prefer, if you were asking me for my advice as a marketing professional, what would you prefer? That I don't advertise in 2015 or advertise sporadically or save for 2016? Well, if your cash was limited, I'd pick some hot months and still do a little advertising in 2015. But I actually would set my money aside so I could do a real marketing campaign, real in air quotes, quote, real, unquote, in 2016 or 2017, because advertising sporadically just doesn't really work out. Let me give you an example of a marathon. You might be familiar with the Old West sort of gangster, if you will, Billy the Kid. And he was notorious all across the Old West. Well, he went on one of the most notorious marathons all across New Mexico and all across the Southwest. And I had an opportunity to actually ride the trail of Billy the Kid with a pretty famous horseman. And we actually rode the trip that was actually the fateful trip of Billy the Kid from Lincoln, New Mexico, all the way to Fort Sumner. And by car, it's about a 2 hour and 15-minute drive. By horse, that's about a day and a half. And we actually documented the ride together. We started in Lincoln, New Mexico, this marathon. We started at Sheriff Brady's grave, and this is some photos of me and the crew actually at the gravesite at night, which was a little bit crazy. And we actually rode from Lincoln. We started from the museum in Lincoln, and we took this marathon. It was literally 1 mile at a time, and we ended up at Billy the Kid's grave. And it was a really interesting ride. When you're taking it with horses, you have to switch out multiple horses, And rumor has it that Billy the Kid had, anywhere from 20 to 30 horses kind of stashed sort of along that trail. Why do I share this story with you? It's because I'm familiar with marathons. I'm not a marathon runner, but I was a part of one of the most famous marathons in cowboy history, when Billy the Kid escaped from Lincoln, New Mexico, and rode all the way to Fort Sumner, where he actually met his demise. So don't forget, advertising is a marathon, not a sprint. So how do you gauge those dollars spent versus your return on investment as we wrap up concept number 1? Month to month really is not fair. It's not accurate. It's not correct, because people typically don't see an ad and react immediately in the industry that we're serving. So I would encourage you to consider marketing twice per year. It's more accurate because consumers just don't see and buy. Maybe waiting till the end of the year to actually gauge, or the end of a full campaign to gauge the effectiveness of that campaign. You just can't do it day to day. Even if you're looking at Facebook advertising, LinkedIn advertising, monitoring that day to day just doesn't give you a big enough span of days to be able to put together a quality result or a quality scope that you can measure from. So in review of concept number 1, remember, it's a marathon, okay, like Billy the Kid. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's an investment. It's not quick cash. Advertising as you earn money is actually backwards. You need to save money to advertise. Don't wait until you have money, then advertise. And then ask yourself this: what percentage of your net profit do you set aside for marketing? Don't forget, 5 to 7% is very common, and it's very, very important. All right, let's move on to concept number 2. Concept number 2 is this: you need to advertise on multiple days in multiple ways. So concept number 2, advertise on multiple days in multiple ways. You know, it's interesting to me as I explore this topic with business owners that randomness is really the new normal. I hear people saying things like reinvent yourself daily. If you're not reinventing yourself, you're dying. And I find that commitment works in love, it works in life, and it works in business. Randomness means you're constantly testing things. We'll talk about that here in just a second. So in my opinion, planning is key. I've probably put together several thousand marketing plans and sales plans for my customers as a sales coach. So planning is really, really important. You know, one of the myths out there is that you need to advertise 7 times to get a potential new customer of yours to react. And 7 is actually a myth. Where the myth came from is there was a professor way back in the 50s that said that 7 things can be held in the short-term memory of a human being. And so because of that, this rule of 7 existed in terms of advertising, but it really wasn't advertising. It was 7 things can be held in the short-term memory of a human. Interestingly enough, there's a gentleman that wrote a book. His name is Jay Baer, B-A-E-R. And what Jay said in his book, Utility, Y-O-U, Utility, is that brands need to be in front of people not only in multiple days and in multiple ways, but it might be 25 to 30 touch points or pieces of branding that you'll have to put in front of a potential customer if you actually hope that you're going to earn their business. Now, as a side note for you, I would really encourage you as you consider advertising on multiple days in multiple ways, meaning you need to advertise in print, TV, radio, online. Wow, Ryan, that really sounds expensive. It doesn't have to be expensive. What it has to be is it has to be something that's right in front of you. It's something that has to happen. You have to advertise on multiple days in multiple ways because you never know where your potential customer is actually going to be at any given time. Well, Ryan, you might say, that's why social media is so great. I can pinpoint people. Actually, if you really dig into the background, it's very difficult to pinpoint the exact time someone's going to see something. That's why I love video, the last point there on your screen. Using video to really drive your point home. And I think it's really important for you to remember. I don't know how many of you are fans of the TV show Deadliest Catch. It's one of my favorite shows that's out there. And I want to share this story with you to accentuate the point that you need to be everywhere. You need to be multiple days in multiple ways, but you need to be strategic about how you do that. Just imagine if this ship went out on the open sea, and what they did is they just threw these crab pots randomly everywhere. Just randomly, they threw these crab pots in the ocean. What are the chances that they're going to fill their boat? They're going to fill that boat with crab. The chances are slim to none. What you'll learn from watching this show is what every crab boat captain will tell you, is that you have to be very strategic. You need to know where the crab are in general, and then what you do is you set these pots, or these traps, if you will, in a line, in a strategic line. So as the crab are moving, they will encounter the pots and then get inside, and they can haul them up and take them to market. The same way with marketing. Same thing with marketing. You may know where the people are. For example, in the case of this video you're watching today, you know that farriers read American Farriers Journal and visit the website as well. So you know where the crab are. You know where the farriers are. So what you need to do is lay your advertising strategically, like you would lay crab pots strategically in the ocean, so that you can catch as many new potential customers as possible. It's really all about, concept number 2 is all about advertising on multiple days in multiple ways. Don't be random, okay? Plan, create a plan. Remember that it's more than 7 times. You need to be in front of your new and potential customers as much as 30 times before they'll make a decision to do business with you. And in an effort to avoid randomness and maximize your return on investment, consider using video. All right, concept number 3 for you on maxing out your marketing budget. Be in the now, but also be in the know. So concept number 3 for you, be in the now, but also be in the know. And what do I mean by this? Being in the now, living in the now, but also being in the know. Many times, advertisers waste literally thousands of dollars testing. Stop testing your advertising. There's so many people that have already done that before you. You don't need to test your advertising. What you need to do is start partnering with people that have an audience, so that when you do go and do some type of new campaign, you're going to maximize your effectiveness. I hear this all the time from business owners. Well, Ryan, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try a little bit of social media. I'm going to try a little bit out on the Twitter. I'm going to try a little bit on Pinterest. I'm going to try a little bit on LinkedIn. I can save you time and money, effort and energy. Stop all this testing. Partner with media companies or advertising outlets that have a track record of having the audience you need, and put your new creative plans in front of them. Create a plan. Commit to a plan. Let the plan roll over several months. Then stop. Then gather your results. Also, make sure you're really clear on what you expect from that campaign when you're calling on a media partner. I'll tell you this, simple ads always work better than complex ads. I see so many of you that currently advertise in AFJ, an American Farriers Journal. I see so many of you that try to put 50 pounds of information into a little teeny tiny ad. And you think that people are going to pay attention to it, and it's cluttered, and it just doesn't work. You need to be clear, concise. Let me share this brief story with you. I was going to sell a horse online, and I thought to myself, I'm going to put the color, the age, a picture, etc. I thought I'm going to put all that in the banner ad. And my advertising executive advised me, don't. Keep it super, super simple. So I said, fine, let's take it one step further. All the banner ad said was, horse for sale. That's it. Horse for sale. Guess what happened? Guess what happened? The highest click-through rate in the history of the company where I advertised occurred on that banner, horse for sale, because it was simple. So simple it was clear. What if I had put a picture of the horse and people thought it was ugly or didn't like the color? I wouldn't have got as many clicks over to my ad. So simple ads work. So be in the now, okay? Take advantage of new technology, but also be in the know, and only try things with trusted partners. Testing really doesn't work out. It really doesn't. Let me ask you something. Have you ever heard of a bungee rope tester? Okay, I don't think that job exists, right? How many people have actually tested the bungee rope before the person, like in this photo, takes the leap, okay? I would encourage you, highly consider, stop testing, okay? Partner. Create a plan. Make your ads simple. Only try new things with trusted partners. All right, let's move on to concept number 4. It's all about social media. Social media is great. I love social media, but it is not cheap. If it comes across to you that it's cheap, it's because you're not doing it right, okay? Social media is only cheaper if your time is worth nothing. And what do I mean by that? How about 15 hours per week? All right, 15 hours per week. Business owners seeing serious results from social media marketing spend 12 to 15 hours per week personally executing these plans. 15 to 20 hours per week, or 12 to 15 hours rather per week. Do you have that much time? See, it's not cheaper. It's only cheaper if your time is worth nothing. Now, some of you pay a social media marketing director $35,000 a year, $2,500 a month to manage your social media. Ask yourself this: do you actually get a return on that of 25%? So I've got my calculator here. Let's just say that your employee is $35,000. Okay, with benefits, it probably works out something to be like $45,000, just to be honest. Let's say that you're paying a social media consultant $2,500 a month. All right, so how much is that? $30,000. All right, so let's take $40,000 as an example, and you're probably going to want to make a 25% margin. So that means you're going to want to make another 10 grand. So altogether, if you hire someone to do social media, you're going to be spending you need $50,000 to recover just the cost of what you're doing and make a little money. 50 grand needs to come in on the books. Can you do that? Does it make sense? Probably not. It's very expensive to stand out from the crowd digitally. So if you're not going to do it on your own, how do you do it so it's effective? What do you need to do to max out social media so that it's effective? Well, what you need to do is partner with media companies that already have the audience in place. Because then you're not out there testing and trying to find these people. Well, Ryan, with social media, I can target farriers. I just choose them as a targeted audience. You can, but you have to ask yourself, how much money is it going to cost you to find the right people? If you partner with somebody, for example, American Farriers Journal, if you partnered with them, they already have the audience. They've already got several thousand followers on their Facebook page already. These are targeted people you don't need to find. They've already found them. So it's going to be cheaper. And you are attaching your company brand to a brand that's been around for years and years and years. One of the oldest brands in the business as it relates to farriers. So if you want to max out your marketing dollars, what do? You partner. You boost. But you partner with somebody that knows what they're doing. The next step is ask yourself this. Looking at this demographic grid for a second, ask yourself this. Where is my demographic? So for example, if your demographic is a 45 to 54-year-old human being, only 12% of Facebook's audience actually matches that. Well, I'm going to do a bunch of advertising on Google. Only 11% of Google Plus's users or people or members, whatever you're going to call it, are 45 to 54. Isn't that interesting? And so you want to ask yourself, is social media the best route to go? I love social media. Are you kidding me? I love it. I love digital. But you got to ask yourself this question: why is it that every time I've looked in my farrier's truck, there's a copy of American Farriers Journal sitting on the front seat? Is it because they don't use new media? No, of course they do. They've all got iPhones, and some of them are even scheduling their appointments with you as a horse owner via text message, etc. They always come back to that trusted resource. All right, concept number 5. Timing is everything when it comes to marketing. I mean, understanding the consumer buying cycle is just mission critical. I like to always ask people when we talk about timing, I'll say, are you married? Sure. You have kids? Yeah. So was your first child planned? So what do you mean? Was your first child planned? And they'll say, no, actually, no. He or she was kind of a surprise. I said, me too. For my 2 kids, me too. Timing is everything in life, in love, in business. And I kind of joke about it because what people don't understand, business owners don't understand, is the consumer buying cycle. And this is what happens. Timing is everything. What typically happens is everybody wants to start by running an ad, okay, and they immediately want to jump to the end of the consumer buying cycle. They want to run an ad and immediately jump to the end, a purchase. They want a purchase to occur immediately. Well, that's called direct response. And direct response ads work with weight loss pills, growing muscles. That's why you see so many direct response ads on late night television, because that's what direct response is. Serious marketers understand that direct response for the products that you're selling, okay, knives and nails and hoof care products and feed and horseshoes and trailers and all kinds of accessories and goo and gunk and all kinds of stuff. These things are all related to someone's need, okay, to a farrier's need. Do you see in the top here in this blue box? Need. Now, there is some want there, but the farriers that I have met over the years and that I've met at the International Hoof Care Summit, they're buying products based upon their needs, not always on their wants. And so what you have to ask yourself is, this is the cycle. I'm going to run an awareness ad up here, okay? If the farrier has a need, okay, and the answer is yes, are they immediately going to buy it? The answer is no. No, they're not. Now let me just point this out to you. What if they don't have a need? The answer is no. Okay, they don't have a need. Then what they're going to do is they just get caught in this little cycle here. All right, it's like a little bitty wind tunnel, so to speak. They just get caught in this whooshing little wind here until they have a need and they go into yes. So you're here as an advertiser. Let's say that you advertise 4 times a year. When this farrier does have a need, is your ad there? Is it ready for them? So when they move into the green light mode, the yes mode, is your ad in front of them? If you advertise 4 times a year, timing is everything. You're going to have to make sure you're there at the perfect time. If you advertise 12 times a year, the chances of you being found grow exponentially, as opposed to advertising 4 times per year. Now you might be thinking, well, Ryan, that's all fine and dandy in a perfect world of Walt Disney, but I don't have the funds to advertise 12 times a year. Why not? Why don't you have the funds? I know why. Because you didn't set funds typically aside. Now, I'm not trying to be preachy. I'm not trying to be critical. I'm trying to help you understand marketing and the buying cycle. So when that farrier says, yes, I do have a need, what do? They're socially influenced. They go online and they see who else is buying that product or has bought that product. They're going to personally consider it. Do I need it? Do I want it? Do I desire it? They're going to talk to their wife, their business partner, whatever. Then they're going to go through this doubt phase. Oh man, it's expensive. Maybe I don't really need it. Really kind of what should I do? They're going to go through this doubting phase. So here's the interesting piece. You can actually use marketing to influence during these 3 very, very important decision-making stops or cycles. Running social media campaigns can help from a social media influence. Running print ads can help during the personal consideration phase. Maybe you need to participate and at the International Hoof Care Summit. That's awesome. It's not enough, though, just being there at that one event. You've got to advertise as well so they know about you when they get there and they're excited about making that purchase. Maybe you're involved in an e-newsletter. Remember something, everybody. It's so important to understand. You can't just run an ad and expect somebody to immediately jump to the bottom of this consumer buying cycle. It doesn't work that way. Let me give you another example. Not that long ago, I decided that I was going to buy a big screen TV. Little did I know how expensive they really were until I went to Best Buy. And I went, wow, okay, these things are expensive, especially a nice one. So I had sat around in my home forever and said to myself, I probably need to get a big screen TV. My wife complained, etc., my kids. So I finally decided, sure, all right, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to buy it. So all of a sudden I had a need, but I was caught in this loop, if you will. I was caught in this no loop for a long time. I saw a lot of ads for Samsung, some for Sony, etc. So my need became a yes. So I immediately went through the 3 steps of the consumer buying cycle. I immediately went online and asked some friends, I'm thinking of buying a big screen TV. Should I do plasma, LED, or LCD? What should I do? So socially influenced. And during that process, I actually did see some ads in various places for Sony and for Sharp and for Samsung. I saw some print ads in a couple of magazines. I actually was at an event where I saw some really nice TVs being used. I might have received some e-newsletters in regards to that product, not so much, but I was socially influenced by all of these things here on the left. So then I started personally considering it. Okay, what size do I want? I sat there at the store and kind of looked at it and which one has a better picture, and etc. But then I kind of in my mind went back to the TVs that I saw at this event in Orlando, Florida, and they were Sony's. I thought, wow, that's really awesome. Maybe I need a Sony. And then I went over and looked at the wall and saw how expensive a Sony was. So then I said to I started doubting. I said to the customer service person there, all right, I don't have $1,900. What's the next best thing to a Sony? I started doubting myself. Oh man, if I don't get a Sony, gosh, am I going to be upset about this long term? Is my family going to think I'm a cheapskate, or whatever's the circumstance? And the guy said to me, well, in your mind, when you think of really good products, electronics, what names come to mind? And I thought, well, I don't know. I guess LG, Samsung. He said, okay, well, let's stop at Samsung. Here's a Samsung television. You familiar with the brand? And I said, I am. Have you ever owned a Samsung? I said, yeah, actually I have. We have another TV that's a Samsung. How do you feel about it? I said, I like it. It's a good one. I just really had my heart set on that Sony. He said, but you like Samsung? I said, yeah, I do. And I looked at it, and the picture was actually pretty darn good. Not quite as good as a Sony, but pretty darn good. And I realized that I had just gone through the consumer buying cycle. I was socially influenced. I had some personal considerations, some doubt, validation, but what it really came down to is I knew Sony, but I knew Samsung over time. The price point was right for me. I had seen Samsung in various commercials, social media. I had seen some at an event, and I'd owned one, and that's when I decided to make the purchase. You can't ignore this. The consumer buying cycle, you can't ignore it and expect to jump from running an ad and immediately there's going to be a purchase. You can't skip all this. That's why advertising in multiple ways, on multiple days, with partners that you trust is so unbelievably important. Stop testing out there. All right, here's your takeaway points as we wrap up. I sure appreciate you spending time with me on this subject. Your takeaway points. Marketing is a marathon, not a sprint. Okay, remember that. Just like I went on that big ride, the Billy the Kid ride, it was a marathon. It was definitely not a sprint. Okay, you need to advertise in multiple ways on multiple days. You need to be prepared to understand that you've got to be where your client is. You've got to be there. If you're looking to reach farriers, you need to be in the American Farriers Journal and on their website and not running weird blind ads on Google. You need to be in the now, which means try new things, but you need to be in the know. Okay, don't be testing things. Partner. Okay, don't be testing all the time. Okay? I don't think any bungee jumper has ever said, has this bungee rope been tested? Okay? Stop testing all the time. The last two, social media is only cheaper if your time is worth nothing. So make sure that you're using your time in a very smart way. Partner with other companies that actually have a social media following. It's going to save you money, time, effort, energy. And don't forget, also for all the men that are listening, okay, don't forget, timing is everything. It's so important. Timing is everything. I'd like to really thank my friends at Lessiter Media and American Farriers Journal and the International Hoof Care Summit for allowing me to come and present this live. And I thank you for the opportunity to present this to you in a rebroadcast. My name is Ryan Dohrn, and my company is Swell Media. I'm a sales coach and a marketing coach. If you're in the need for some advice, please reach out to me. My email address is ryan@brainswellmedia.com. My first 30-minute call with you as a consultant is always absolutely free. So just reach out to me, ryan@brainswellmedia.com. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you'll have some good takeaways, and I wish you the very best of luck as you market your products to the farrier community. Take care, and God bless.